Hey, yo, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's your boy Makuita, and I'm with Spectrum on the podcast. And we've seen a lot of things happening in Zim hip-hop culture this week. And Spectrum, can you give them a rundown of what's been going down?
Yo, what's good, people? Yeah, this your boy Spectrum, aka King of Rents, and I'm here with my brother Makuita. I know we've been having constant discussions about this stuff. We just thought we'd have it out in a public platform. So today we're just gonna talk about the Enzo Ishall and the Holy 10 beef, as well as the RPeels diss, which was apparently supposed to be a response to Enzo Ishall and Holy 10, and we're going to talk about Comic Pastor's response as well, stating that there is no king of hip-hop and that hip-hop is an easy genre. Anyone can do it. There's nothing technical about it. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into that. So stay tuned, keep it locked.
So let's start from the top. Okay, how did we come here? I recently wrote a post a few days ago on my wall before some of this stuff unfolded. And I say that we are the ones who gave people permission to disrespect us. As soon as we started saying being the best was about the numbers, it was about who's got the most views or who can have the most followers. Because when you do that, Spectrum, what these guys have been doing, what these guys have been using as a measuring stick, it means anybody can come into hip-hop now and say that they're the best. They can use clout from any other thing that they do. Even a politician can come in, Themba Mliswa can come in, Thokozani Kupe can come in and say that she's the best FMC, and say that because obviously if she dropped a track, people would view it not because she's the best, people would want to see if it's for real, right? So it would probably make more views than more views than Kiki Bedes. Then she could claim that she's the best FMC. You know what I mean? So the dangerous thing that we've done over time, my brothers, even the people that are listening, my brothers and sisters in Zim Hip-hop, is to crown people based on these metrics that don't matter. That's what I think happened here. Anything that happened afterwards is incidental. The reason that Enzo Ishall was able to come in and say he's the king was because the week before you guys were arguing on Twitter about who's the best, and you were using numbers to justify that. And then, well, Enzo, he's got numbers. Dancehall artists are not that far apart from hip-hop. You know, those genres, they come from each other. So he can obviously rap and he can come in and say that, right? What stops him from saying that? What stops Comic Pastor? So me, that's the way that I see it. Now, both of their disses, Holy 10 and what's that guy's name? Enzo Ishall. I think they were underwhelming to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if people like them because the quality of people that they're attracting to that are not actually hip-hop heads. One. Two, the RPeels diss track. Yeah, I think it's catchy, it's okay. Again, nothing scathing, nothing to write home about in terms of the bar content, but I think it's far much better than the first two diss tracks that I heard from Enzo, except that people have got this love and hate thing for RPeels, so people are always going to hate on RPeels and say that he didn't do it, but I think he actually delivered there. The Comic Pastor thing, it's hilarious. We should expect that. He's a comedian. It's like when Big Shaq did Men's Not Hot. Comedians are always going to do stuff. Then Baba Harare, absolutely disrespectful, but again, who allowed the disrespect, who opened the gates for disrespect? It's all of you people that are saying that it's a numbers game. I don't know, do you want to add anything? I know that you want to talk about, you might want to talk about the technical side and Pastor Comics comments. What do you think about what happened this week?
First of all, I want to categorize hip-hop because people just saying hip-hop is the numbers game, forgetting that there's mainstream hip-hop and underground hip-hop. Those are two different lanes. It's just like you can't compare Drake's numbers with Immortal Technique's numbers. You see, they're doing different numbers, but both have their own followings. So if we talk about it being a numbers game, that's a whole problem, because how are you basing your numbers on, right? So because some people make bubblegum music, right, which blows up, just like that example you said, Man's Not Hot blew up. It became, I think, a top one song at one point, and then it fizzled out, you know. But then you have your hip-hop, Yabuti, it was released like decades ago. For example, I Salute You, that's a very old Zim Hip-hop song, but it's still relevant, it's still, applicable to our current situation. But you can check that some bubblegum hip-hop music was made during that time and it didn't last. So if we are going to solely base on the numbers, we'll be doing this whole thing a disservice. I think we had this discussion with someone else at one point. Kuti hip-hop and dancehall are closely related, in as much as we reached the point where we said like these Zim dancehall guys are actually rappers, like if we switch the beat on their music, if we take away their rhythms and give them trap beats and whatnot, it'll be straight hip-hop. And as we can see, that's what happened with Enzo Ishall, because Enzo Ishall didn't really change his delivery yagarachungweita ariku Zim dancehall side. He just switched beats, and still zangweita bo. And another thing which people should consider is that, especially kana uri munhu ajaira kuona battle rap, because battle rap is aggressive. Battle rap, each line has to be a blow. Each line has to, it's either you're setting up for your punchline or you're building on it. That's battle rap, of which Zatruguona right now, it's not really battle rap. It's more just like, let's just call it entertainment, right? Entertainment rap. So if we're really gonna talk about rap, because if we're talking about rap, obviously we need to talk about the bars. That's another thing. There's the flow. That's another thing. Then you have to talk about wordplay as well. You have to talk about triple entendres and all that stuff. That's what goes into being a rapper, right? So from this, tiff, whatever you call it, I don't think that we can determine who the king of Zim Hip-hop is through this, because it's basically just entertainment. It's an entertainment thing that they're doing, kind of like ish, but even that was more technical. The Joyner Lucas Tory Lanez beef, that was a lot more technical than Zurugiti Kapana. And about Anana Baba Harare trying to drop hip-hop tracks, it's all good. Let them drop their tracks. Because one thing that everyone seems to be missing is that hip-hop has become so influential, right, that people felt the need to step away from their own genres just to fit into it. Because even if you check worldwide, hip-hop is the main genre right now. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Even if you check these guys, and Justin Bieber's and all those other guys, even if they're making pop records, you have to get a hip-hop artist feature on them. So if we check Comment Pastor, what he's saying, most of his stuff, we have to take it lightly since he's a comedian. That's what he's supposed to do. It's different from Let saying that because he was saying that Stana is his assistant and Takura is the security guy. It's just him being a comedian. We shouldn't read too much into that. We should actually be happy with, okay, at least the light is being shed on the genre. All this king of hip-hop thing, I think we should just forget about that for now, and let's just cherish the moment that we're in, where Zim Hip-hop is at the forefront, right, where it's in front of everyone's eyes. Because even after this, I guarantee you that people will go back and dig up some old stuff, and they now want to find out, Kuti, there's a genre where people are talking about being kings and all of that. What is it really about? Then that's when we start introducing them to the jungle locals, to the Munetis, to the cynics, to the Malcolm Fundes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you say there. You're seeing the bigger picture of things. I actually got some insights from you that I hadn't looked at that way, right? Although I still feel like the reason that we should be having this discussion and why we decided to have this discussion and create a podcast around this issue is to make sure that people are not misdirected to the wrong narrative. Because if we don't put our 2 cents into this narrative, some people are going to think that for real, Zim hip-hop is easy. They are not going to take it as humor. So even if the comedians, the Baba Harares, are trolling and they know that they're trolling, if you've ever been on Facebook, not even Facebook, just around the world, you'll realize that people are not as smart out there sometimes to have their own opinions. Some things that you might say as sarcasm. A case in point, sometimes I write things that are supposed to be sarcasm. I wrote a post yesterday on Facebook with a list of rappers, and I was clearly trolling even in the way that I used certain words. But up to now, I'm still getting notifications of people who think that's a real list and they're complaining ways so and so, meaning they couldn't even read that it's a joke. So there's always going to be people, even if it's a joke, that are going to think that's serious. And that's probably a larger number than you think. So it's important that we hold these discussions. With that being said, with everything, in order to figure out who's best in this and that, right? Hip hop, like any music thing, is a subjective sport. If we're ever going to have that conversation, however, like you said, hip hop exists in many categories, not just underground and commercial. But even within those lines of underground and commercial, there are different types of commercial hip hop and different types of underground hip hop. Sub-genres, like right now these guys are talking about drill, right? That's a sub-genre, right? And then there's trap, and then there's this, and then there's that. So some people might not win at best in battle, but they might win at best in making club hits, and that's okay, right? But to have an ultimate person, it's quite hard. You can't say it's like the medical field. You can't say that a certain person is the best doctor ever. A best doctor in what? Because there's doctors for teeth, there's doctors for eyes. So are you saying that guy that you're saying is the best? If he's a dentist, can he fix my grandma's eyes? He can't, right? So that's another thing we need to consider. And then if somebody disrespects, however, is totally trolling and disrespecting some people that do this at a certain level, at the foundational level, they gotta be checked. Because if you create a low entry level for anything, people don't respect it. Look at universities. If a certain university offers a certain program for 12 points and another one for 7 points, which university do you think people respect? So people still gotta know that, no, yeah, we can do the cloud stuff, we can do the popularity stuff, but there's standards to this. Because just because I can work out a few math problems, I can probably do exchange rates, right? Bond note to US dollar. Doesn't make me an accountant. I can't just go and say that I'm there for the best accountant, right? When there is a job posting for accountants, they want accountants to come to the job, and they can even specify the level of accounting. Did you do accounting at diploma, at certificate, or at degree level, or do you have a master's, right, while doing that job, and how many years experience do you have, right? Any other metric other than the actual skill required becomes something additional they can use. So let's say they say someone with an accounts degree and then 15 people come. That's when we start to consider the other factors, like, okay, fine, okay, there's 15 guys, we only need one. So how do we eliminate the other guys? Now we're starting to look at, okay, who's smartly dressed, who's got a better conversational tone, who speaks more eloquently, can we consider, do we have a driver's license, and so forth, right? But what we're doing sometimes is to take these other topping metrics that come secondary and putting them first, and then putting the bars last, which would be like, if you were employing people for an accountancy job, you first taking them in on the basis of they smell good and they look good and they've got a suit and tie, right? And then it doesn't matter if they actually did accounts, but okay, it looks like they can do an exchange rate between US dollar to bond note. That would not work. So what I'd prefer is a system whereby, okay, we can consider all those numbers things, we can consider how many shows you do, we can consider how well you dress, we can consider how you move as a brand. But the primary thing we're considering before we even shortlist you for that is, do you have the pen? Do you have the bars? Do you have the flow to be even part of that conversation? So if we do that, you realize that a lot of people will be taken out of that conversation once we do that. And that's the best way to approach such a situation.
Right. Yeah, you make very valid points. Let me just add on to what you were saying about people not being smart. Yeah, that's why the majority people have an IQ that is less than 100. So you see, it's the people with the higher IQs that are supposed to drive the people with the lower IQs. What am I saying? That in this instance, right, while we know the benefits of this thing, we are the people that should be driving this in the favor of the genre. And about people needing to be checked, yeah, people need to be checked. But in this thing, there's also another element that we need to consider. You have gatekeepers that are actually stopping participation. This is something that I know for a fact. There is someone out there, an influential, in quotes, someone out there who's stopping a certain rapper from replying to this, from responding to this and I think that's detrimental. Like right now, I think each and every person who has something to say should say it, without fear, without favor and all of that. They should be allowed to participate. So let's say I have my diss track. It's fire. It's bars after bars after bars, shots after shots. And let's say, for example, you, McPorter, you know about this diss track, and you tell me, nah, don't do that. This is not for your brand. These are cheap gimmicks. Don't join into this. You see, that's you're defeating the whole purpose of hip hop, because hip hop in itself is a competitive genre. It's a competitive genre. It's filled with aggression. It's a place where someone doesn't just say what they want about you, about your hood, about your family, and it just remains like that, because we know of situations where, because of hip hop, what people have said on tracks have got them beaten up or worse. Of course, we do not want it to end there, where people are getting clapped and all sorts of things. But yeah, this is the nature of hip hop. It's an aggressive sport, and no one takes anything lightly, anything lying down. People are posed to respond. If someone wants to respond, let them respond. So another thing, I was just watching a certain Instagram live video which had Enzo Ishall and Holy 10, and apparently they both agree that the RPeels diss was null and void, so to speak, both of them. And Holy 10 even went on to address RPeels as his firstborn son. So you see already, this is the part where RPeels should step in and respond, because now this is a direct attack on him. That's when he can really prove his pen, since we know RPeels for talking a lot on social media, of being very opinionated, so this is his chance for him to get into this, because this is a direct attack on him. So another thing that I want to comment on was the explanation. I asked on Facebook why Holy 10 wasn't trending on the Zimbabwean version of YouTube, but Enzo Ishall was trending on the Zimbabwean iTunes, both on the music tab and on the general tab with everything else. And Holy 10's response was that it's because his YouTube was created in another country. Yeah, that might make sense to, those not so smart people that you were referring to earlier. But to me, it doesn't make sense, because you find an Amigos, find these SA cats trending on Zimbabwean YouTube, but obviously these YouTube accounts were not made in Zim. So, an easier explanation could be that most of his views are coming from outside of Zim. These are not views from inside of Zim. I guess that's why he's not trending. Maybe he's trending in SA, maybe he's trending in Cyprus. I think that's a better explanation for that.
Yeah, man. On the Holy 10 thing, though, when he dropped his album, he was trending in Zimbabwe. I don't know what's changed about his account now. But I don't know much about YouTube. RPeels making a diss. I love that diss. I was telling Malcolm Mfunde that this is actually dope, right? That he's going at them. I thought it was going to be a longer diss, though. I thought that it was going to be scathing. I'm still waiting for my RPeels reply. When he's done with giving them that energy, he should come back at me, though. Because remember, I'm not only a podcaster or a blogger, I'm also a rapper. And 2 years ago, me and RPeels, if you remember, he mentioned my name and I replied. He mentioned my name in a diss, and I did what you said in hip hop when somebody called your name or disrespect your hood, disrespected Bulawayo. You call them out. But what I respect about this young guy is like he's invested in himself, which a lot of people are not able to do. He believes in himself, like RPeels, even Holy 10, even Enzo Ishall. The reason that they are where they are at that stage where everybody's looking at them, whether they've got bars that people respect or not, right? That's another conversation, right? It's because they've invested in themselves. Now, I've seen a lot of conversations in groups, underground groups, Facebook posts and whatever, and I personally know a lot of individuals that might be able to outbar all three of them, right? In terms of how they write, the lyricism and everything, right? And what I realize is that all of these people, they've invested energy into the bars, but they haven't invested in themselves. I think we now need to do everything. We need to invest in how we look. We need to invest in getting cameras, getting a team, shooting videos, even if you are from that lyrical community, because how many people from the so-called lyrical community can say that they've released videos as much as some of these guys who basically trend online, whether we call them cloud chasers or whatever? They shoot videos. I mean, RPeels dropped a track in the morning, leaked a song in the morning, and then by evening we had a video. So look at that work ethic, and he's been doing that even when he was working with these guys at Donut. I remember he used to get flack for some of his videos and people were saying they were subpar, but he was investing in himself, because you start investing in yourself at a small level, and he kept on learning and learning how to do that, right? So I definitely respect that kind of thing, and I wish we could have done that in our time. I wish a lot of people that write bars, I wish they could start doing that. You don't have to start at a big level. Get your homie, make a team. You know what I'm saying? Make this work. If you look at RPeels, he's got a team where they arranged each other into different roles. He's even got people that can go and support him and diss the trolls, right? Diss everyone who's saying negative about him, because he's been that organized, right? So at the end of the day, if the people that have the bars, right, want to get that attention, they must understand that this is a business, and in any business, it works with numbers. So, and numbers now to people, most people, like we said, they don't view things at only an intellectual level. People are conditioned with certain biases. They want to see certain things, right? Whether you've hired a car and you don't own a car, and you've got some Ciroc bottles with water in them, doesn't really matter to some of these people. Or you've got fake money on the set. You know that you can get on Amazon and buy fake money to use in videos. Americans do that. I'm not saying you must come out with things you don't want, but I'm saying there are some people who invest in the lighting, in the green screens, in making sure that things just appear dope. Like, it just appears as if your stuff is already dope, right? And then by doing that, you attract the people that actually end up making it dope. So I'm not saying you have to fake anything. In fact, if you're a real rapper who's writing like those hard bars, you don't even have to show things you don't have. And even RPeels, like I said, most of his videos are in his ghetto with his homies, and you can see kids with dust and whatever. He's just got a passion, man. And we all got to start learning from that passion, man. And nobody should block anyone. This is hip-hop. Nobody owns this. Right? That's the only part that I agree with Pastor Comic. Hip-hop Haina Mambo, right? Nobody can tell me what to do and what not to do, but we can advise each other and so forth, right? And yeah, I think these are my last sentiments. Do you have anything to add before we conclude? We've been talking forever.
Right, yeah, we've been talking for quite a while now. I think just to conclude, I'd like to talk about the not impressed yes, that you mentioned. Like, when he said he was going to release a diss track, that was the type of diss track that I was looking for. That not impressed, the one that you responded to, yeah. But this one felt a little bit, for me, it felt light, so that's the thing about that. And also about branding, that's another thing I've been talking to a lot of artists about. Kuti, it's not just about releasing my audios about Kuti Nasi, I've got a new audio single and whatnot. It's about the whole package. It's about the whole package, the whole branding aspect of it. Like, if you check this kid on the token, where every single of his has got visuals, and that's something he's been doing since he started. So if you check him right now, he's more on the underground scene and Mune Wemabahos, but you can check that his videography's got like, I think it's got like more than 30 videos right now, which we cannot say for a lot of people. Yeah, so everything has to be branded. Yeah, like your name should be out there. At least get get your homie who makes dope logos to do a logo for you. Like the way you present yourself is something also that needs to be considered. Yeah, because you want people to be invested in you, right? And I can only invest in something that I see having value, because right now, to me, just a simple MP3 from unknown rapper from wherever, just doesn't cut it anymore. So that's why I'm saying, like, for every single that is dropping, it should also drop with visuals. So shout out to Leo V, who's been responsible for quite a number of visuals that we've received this year. I don't know why other artists aren't taking advantage of that, because you find like someone with 5-6 albums, and they've got like 1 or 2 visuals. You see, it just shows that they aren't investing in themselves, but they want other people to invest in themselves. Like, you find people with like a whole catalog, but you can't find it online on any DSPs. It's great that we have Spotify in Zim right now, you see. So we need that music on those platforms, because personally I play a lot of my music from Spotify, but we need things on those platforms, because if you check like people in the diaspora, that's how they listen to music. They're not going to be like, send me through the MP3s. Nah, they'll just simply ask you like, yo, is your music online? Where can I get it? Having to send MP3s and all that is a tedious thing, and it's backward now. Unless you're sending for radio airplay, you don't really need to do that. So wrapping it up, I just want to say that I'm enjoying like the energy right now that's around, like all the attention, everything, all the contributions, like everyone has been promising responses. Like we've got a pending response from Lorraine Guyo about the stray she caught from Holy 10, and there's some other, I don't know, another unknown kid who wants to release a diss track. But the thing about diss tracks right now, not everyone is going to blow up off of diss tracks, right? Like the only people that I knew that got some sort of recognition from diss tracks was Noble Styles when he dissed MMT, and Holy 10 when he dissed Kiki Badass. I think those are the only people who managed to use diss tracks to their advantage. Of course, for Holy 10, he did his diss track, he released an album, Early Retirement, and then it felt like he went quiet for a bit, although he was releasing music, only to surface back in 2010. So yeah, people need to brand themselves accordingly. Also, the visuals need to be on point, and yeah, those who feel like they need to respond, but make sure that your response is worth responding to, because you don't want to kill your career off of a response. Just like nowadays, Cannabis isn't rated that highly because of how he dropped his rhyme book during a battle. That was disrespectful to the culture. So you don't disrespect the culture that you're in and expect to keep it going, and expect to keep being relevant. So yeah, I think that's everything from my end. It's been great talking about this. Hopefully we'll keep on having more discussions like this, airing things out, offering some advice, offering different viewpoints. So yeah, it's been great, it's been good. So until next time, man, it's been great.